The National Judicial Council has slammed a one-year suspension without pay on 3 serving judicial officers, including a justice of the Court of Appeal, for various acts of judicial misconduct. In a statement, the council outlined that Justice Jane Nyang of the Court of Appeal Uyo Division was found guilty of breaching Rule 3, subsection 5 of the revised Code of Conduct for judicial officers. Similarly, Justice Nyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court Abuja Division was suspended for 1 year without pay, in addition to being placed on the council's watch list and barred from elevation for 5 years. In the meantime, the National Judicial Council has directed Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State to reverse the appointment of Justice Theophilus Nzukwe as acting Chief Judge of the state and directed him to appoint the most senior judicial officer in the Imo State High Court's hierarchy as the acting Chief Judge, in line with Section 271, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended. Well, we are now being joined by lawyer Maxwell Opara to discuss those disciplinary steps taken by the NJC. How far-reaching are they, and what other measures may be required to restore public confidence in the judiciary? Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
It's my pleasure. Good afternoon, Hawa. Good afternoon, Temitope. It's my pleasure to be here once again.
So what message do these disciplinary actions send to the judiciary and, of course, to the public about the NJC's stance on judicial misconduct? Do you think they've sent a very loud and clear message to everyone concerned?
Of course, it has. The NJC, in exercising their disciplinary authority given to them by the Constitution to discipline judges, has done a great job in disciplining all those judges. And I think it will go a long way of improving judicial performance among judges. It will also go a long way of strengthening judicial oversight, and as well as upholding the integrity of judicial officers, as well as motivating judges to uphold integrity and honesty and Impartiality in carrying out the judicial function. And also, just like you said, in the actions of the judiciary in calling the governor of Imo State to order in line with Section 271, sub 4 of the Constitution, has also gone a long way of curtailing the executive recklessness in appointing judicial officers. So it's a good one, and we are expecting them to do more. If you watch very well, you discover that none of the Supreme Court judges has been disciplined. And they won't continue to ask, does it mean that this discipline among judges is only for High Court, Federal High Court, National Industrial Court judges, and the Court of Appeal judges? We have not seen any member of the Supreme Court judges that has been disciplined for, or panel of judges of the Supreme Court has been disciplined, because that is where we are having issue. That is where the problem lies, because any judgment given by Federal High Court can be set aside by Court of Appeal. Anyone given by a panel of Court of Appeal can be set aside by the Supreme Court. But once the misconduct is coming from the judiciary, you can see that it will create more damage, because there is no place to appeal against it. So I believe that the agency should beam their searchlight on Supreme Court judges, so that they will not be seeing themselves that they are above the law.
Well, these actions have been long coming. A lot of people have been speaking about the judicial overreach for a while. How far-reaching do you believe that these recent punitive measures by the NJC, how far-reaching do you think they are in terms of their impact on the affected judicial officers' careers and their reputations after this?
Yes, it has gone a long way of restoring hope, restoring that confidence among members of the public. If you watch very well, except we are not ready to tell ourselves the truth, in Nigeria in particular, people have lost confidence in the judiciary, be it a declaration of title to land, be it election issue, be it a recovery of debt, anything that has to do with the judiciary. recovery of premises, if you are talking about court, you will discover that an average Nigerian will feel reluctant to go to court. So by taking all these measures, it will go a long way of restoring hope. And another angle to it is this. I was even thinking that NJC, having disciplined their own, they can initiate directing a legal practitioner disciplinary committee. The lawyer who played a role in that act, either by omission or commission, either by application that made the judge, just like the one of I think Akwa Ibom State, the one that gave application for motion ex parte, granted an order that a particular filling station and all the properties therein should be sold off at the interim interlocutory stage. So who is the lawyer that filed that application? So I think NJC should also, on their own, suo motu, on its own power, send a petition to APDC to discipline that particular lawyer, because the NJC consists of the bar and the bench, because NBA is represented in NJC. So we cannot also be talking, I'm a lawyer, now I'm speaking. The judges don't have opportunity to speak for themselves. So if NJC has disciplined their own, they should also ask a local practitioner disciplinary committee to discipline their own, the lawyer who contributed in either way for that misconduct, for that corruption, for that whatever thing that must have led to the disciplinary action, to that petition. That is my own take on that. But we have to commend NJC for the one they have done also.
Now, I'd like us to examine the circumstances surrounding the NJC's directive to the Imo State government, and of course, what happens if the Imo State government fails to comply with the NJC's directive?
Of course, if there is somebody that will disobey NJC decision or judiciary decision, I don't think that it should be Hope Uzodinma, because Hope Uzodinma has benefited greatly from judiciary. So through his commissioner for information, he has issued a press conference that they're going to comply with the order. Of course, he has no option than to comply with the order, because you know the implication. You cannot, because you are the governor, there are laid down rules on how CJ of heads of courts should be appointed. You cannot just jump and left somebody that's supposed to be the CJ, you go and pick another person, either because of your personal relationship, because you feel that he will come and do your bidding as a governor in your state. No, it doesn't work like that. And the people condemned. And I'm also use this opportunity to condemn the branches of Nigerian Bar Association in Imo State. Apart from the chairman of Owerri branch, other branches supported Hope Uzodinma. But I thank God that NJC has right the wrong. It has also gone a long way of telling other governors, if you think that you can apply executive recklessness in the judiciary, you should also know that whatever thing that you are doing, NJC will be there to right the wrong. It has gone a long way of giving a signal, telling them that it's not going to be business as usual. You can play politics, you don't play politics with the judiciary. Of course, you know that why we are talking about judiciary is that judiciary is the last hope of a common man. Because if executive misbehave, you go to judiciary. If the parliament is misbehave, you go to judiciary. If judiciary misbehave, where do you run to? So that is the reason why everybody should be interested in what is happening in the judiciary and the role NJC is playing.
Do you believe that the NJC's directive in Imo State is going to set a significant precedent regarding the council's oversight powers over state-level judicial appointments?
Certainly, yes. Certainly, yes. Of course, just like, every member of any CJ, chief judge of every state, is a member of NJC. So if you appoint a judge and you sworn in a CJ of a state, NJC will welcome the person and recognize the person as the chief judge of that state. So if NJC said that this person is not the person that's supposed to be there, go and right the wrong. And if you refuse to do that, then you know the implication, and NJC can cite you as a contempt. So the point there is that it has gone a long way of telling that we have independent judiciary. Whatever thing you think that you can do as a governor, using your power as a governor to abuse the process and procedures laid down, especially in appointment of judges. Everybody now is aware that NJC is there to correct you. So it has gone a long way of sending a message across the nation.
Well,
so
you
it's a
seem
good
very
one.
pleased.
We must commend
Yeah,
NJC
you seem
on
very
that.
pleased with the NJC. So then I'm wondering what other steps can be taken to address the root causes of judicial misconduct and promote a culture of integrity within the judiciary.
Yes, of course, yes, it will go a long way because though it's not left for people to speak out, because NJC cannot know what is going on except you come up with a petition, not a frivolous petition, a petition that has merit. If you watch, there are a lot of petitions. I think about 29 of them were declared unmeritorious, so it has no basis. So if you have a petition, depose the affidavit, attach the evidence, submit it to NJC. NJC will hear it. So we are calling people to speak out. If something, especially in the rural areas, if you discover that a judge is misbehaving, write a petition, forward the petition to NJC. You can even ask, if you go to that NJC, if you don't know how to prepare a petition, they can guide you. So that is the position, because if you get it right in the judiciary, we are there. You can see that a politician will go and rig election and ask you to go to court. Somebody can collect your property and ask you to go to court. You can work for somebody and the person refuses to pay you and ask you to go to court. All these issues now, if we now discover that if you go to court and the judge misbehaves, you can report the judge, it will go a long way of making the judges to be on their toes. It will motivate them to do good. It will motivate them to uphold that integrity, that honor given to them. Because we call them my lord. When it's, I think, bishops and bishops and judges, these are the people that call my lord. And when somebody is appearing before you, the person is now seeing you as his God at that particular point in time. A judge can terminate life. A judge can sentence somebody to death. A judge can do anything. A judge can unseat a senator. A judge can unseat a governor. A court can do anything. So that's why once there is misconduct, corruption in judiciary, that particular society is gone and is gone forever.
Well, Maxwell Opara, it has been great having this discussion with you. It seems we're having some technical issues, but thank you so much for coming to speak with us here on Newsday.